Hey people, it's David G. Offering dining, showers, and an open bar, lounges may sound too good to be true, but they aren't. I've visited hundreds of lounges around the world, and they consistently save me money and take the stress out of travel nearly every time I fly. There are many different ways of accessing lounges that anybody can take advantage of. Often it doesn't even matter what airline you're flying or class you're seated in, so let's take a look at how to get into lounges. There are four main ways of accessing lounges. These are with Priority Pass, with credit cards, with airline status, and by flying business or first class.
Number 1, Priority Pass.
Priority Pass is a membership program that gives you access to over 1,400 lounges around the world. And I really like this one because it doesn't matter which airline you're flying or class you're seated in. There are a few different ways to get a Priority Pass membership, but the best one by far is to get one through a travel credit card.
In fact, the cost of an unlimited Priority Pass membership is $469 a year. That's not much less than most of the premium travel credit cards. Cards like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Amex Platinum, and the Capital One Venture X all include unlimited Priority Pass lounge usage as a benefit.
If you have an unlimited Priority Pass membership, then you're probably going to want to be traveling a lot too to take advantage of that. Buying a Priority Pass membership directly from Priority Pass usually is not the way to go though.
Number 2, Travel Credit Cards.
There's an assortment of premium travel credit cards that will give you lounge access at select airports. These lounges tend to be a bit more upscale than what you'd find in the Priority Pass network, offering things like a completely open bar, better food, and showers. The most popular and widespread credit card lounges are the Amex Centurion lounges. Both Chase and Capital One have also started up their own airport lounges in the US, and there's other credit card lounges abroad too. In addition to access to credit card lounges, American Express also has an agreement with Lufthansa and Delta. This gives Platinum card holders access to some Lufthansa and Delta lounges too.
Number 3, Airline Status.
If you hold an elite status with an airline, you're likely to have lounge access, even if you're flying in basic economy. The specific requirements for elite status vary a lot depending on the airline, so we won't have time to get into them in this video. But essentially, earning status usually requires getting a certain number of miles and/or flights within a year. If you're a status holder, it's important to also have an understanding of which other airlines are in your airline's alliance. For example, I hold Qatar Gold status, which is equivalent to One World Sapphire.
Qatar Airways is a member of the One World Alliance. This means when flying on any One World airline, I can access lounges operated by other One World Alliance members, such as American Airlines, Cathay Pacific, Qantas, British Airways, and a bunch of others.
Then I also hold Delta status, and they're a member of SkyTeam.
Other SkyTeam members include airlines like Air France, KLM, Aeromexico, and many others.
And then the third big airline alliance is Star Alliance.
Among others, United, Lufthansa, ANA, and Air Canada are members of this alliance. Number 4, Flying Premium Classes.
Then if you're flying business class or first class, you'll typically have access to the airline's lounge or a lounge that the airline partners with. Each airline has resources online to look these up, but usually I find that airline employees are happy to point you in the right direction. Here, it's also important to know which alliance the airline you're flying with is a member of, because you'll usually have access to their alliance partners' lounges too. Another way to access lounges is to pay for one-time entry. Many lounges offer one-time passes to non-members or guests for a fee, but this is usually a terrible deal. A great example of this is the new fee that Amex decided to add for guests to Centurion lounges. While guest access used to be complimentary, now it costs $50 per person. This is most likely poor value considering you'd really have to take advantage of the lounge for $50 to make sense. You could probably just go out in the airport and get some food and drink for less. At most airports where Centurion lounges operate, there are other lounges in the airport that won't charge you to bring in a guest, so a little bit of planning goes a long way here. Lounges can really vary greatly depending on the country, the time of day that you're trying to access, and other factors. I always make sure to do a little bit of research before my trip, just to make sure that there's a lounge I'll be able to access, and then see if there's anything that might impact my lounge experience there. When visiting lounges, it's important to keep each lounge's rules in mind. For example, many lounges require you to enter within 3 hours of your departure time. And then some lounges also charge for food or beverages. On the other hand, some lounges even allow access on arrival.
It's always worth keeping in mind that some smaller airports simply don't have lounges. I find that most of these airports tend to have quick security and are usually less busy in public areas. Still, I usually plan lounge access during a layover in my trip when that's the case. If it makes sense for my schedule and the fares are the same, I even will consider booking a longer layover to make use of lounge access. Essentially, you want to make sure that you have as many as possible of the 4 ways to access lounges that we went over. From there, you can quickly plan your lounge access according to the ways of accessing lounges that you have at your disposal.
I hope you found this video helpful, but if you have any more questions about lounges, just drop them down in the comments. And if you found this video useful, then give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. See you in a lounge soon!